Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the brand new Tesla Model 3. I say brand new, it's the 2026 update, and I've been driving it for about a week now just to get my head around the updates, and also just to get a feeling for how I feel about Teslas these days, because there's quite a lot to unpack here. The updates, I think some of these are either not that recent updates or they're just things that have been added over the last year or so, but some of this stuff is brand new. So we have a new headlight and tail light design. Not sure how new that is, but ultra low drag coefficient of 0.219 for improved efficiency. So in theory, you should get better range on this one. This is the long range version, by the way. Fully redesigned interior with upgraded materials, ventilated front seats and heated seats all round. Nice. Full cabin ambient lighting with custom colors. Is that new? I don't think it is it? A much quieter cabin thanks to 360-degree acoustic glass and improved insulation. Major connectivity improvements for better cell range or mobile range if you're in the UK, stronger Wi-Fi and faster phone key access, I guess. A new indicator stalk. The indicator stalk has returned. We don't have the buttons anymore. Auto shift out of park that selects drive and reverse automatically. Blind spot indicators integrated into the door speaker grills, which are these little red lights that come on here when someone enters your blind spot. Stop laughing at the back. New heated front camera with a washer for clearer visibility. An upgraded premium audio system with up to 17 speakers and faster USB-C ports for 65-watt charging. Oh, and updated suspension for a more refined ride. Oh, and also this car is so new, they haven't taken off the protective film on the display. So I've done it on a lot of phones before, but I've never done it on a car. So here we go. The peel, as they say. I've been driving around with that on for the last week, just so I can do that for you. Get a shot of that. Let's start driving. What is a Tesla like to drive? Good fun, actually. And I know that's a bit controversial, and I know the whole owning a Tesla thing is fairly controversial for some reason. Well, not for some reason, but for reasons that people have about the brand. I get that. I'm not going to get involved in that discussion because I'm looking at this purely as a product. That is how I review products. I look at them as products. It's up to you to decide whether it's for you for whatever reason or not for you for whatever reason. However, driving Teslas is a lot of fun. Even for someone like me who deeply loves petrol cars, I can still appreciate that a Model 3 is good fun to drive. And I think that's generally accepted as being a thing. So one of those upgrades was a refined ride, and I can't remember what the previous Model 3 was like. I have driven the one before these upgrades, but I don't remember it being particularly uncomfortable. It's fairly stiff, and this is a relatively stiff car, but it's not annoying. It's not the sort of car that you'd get really fed up with as a daily driver. When it comes to speed and just getting around and putting your foot down, that's where it's good fun. It's very elastic. It has got that, as I've always said, EVs have this kind of elastic power where you put your foot down and the whole world kind of does that computer game thing where everything stretches out and it's all a bit computer game-like. Lots of noises, because it's a modern car. But yeah, when it comes to acceleration, it's quick. There's two acceleration modes. There's chill, which don't bother with that, and standard, I think. Standard is just what you expect from an EV with a fairly decent amount of power. When you hit the back roads without loads of traffic in front of you, you can have some fun. The one thing Tesla does, and the one thing that Tesla has kind of accelerated in this industry, is this abstraction from the process of driving. So for instance, you can drive pretty much everywhere with one pedal in a Tesla Model 3. You barely need to touch the brake pedal at all, which sounds weird, and if you've never experienced it before, I can appreciate why you'd think that sounds massively unsafe. The reason it works is because the braking, I nearly said engine braking, but the regeneration, the braking where you take your foot off the accelerator and it slows down for you, is very, very well judged. Polestar are on a par with Tesla with this, but Tesla definitely leads the way. It just means that you can very easily drive this car with one foot, never worry really about the brake unless you absolutely... I'm coming up to a roundabout now. I know, even if the car in front of me stops, completely dead, I won't need to touch the brake. So this person's braking now. I can just let off the accelerator. It's not throwing me forward. It's not that really annoying regen thing. I haven't touched the brake and it's fine. And once you get used to it, it's just a very comfortable way of driving. So it changes the way you drive. The other way it does this is the interior, which is completely devoid of anything apart from this massive display. And again, if you've never driven a Tesla before, if you haven't driven a modern car that's been made within the last 2 years, it's worth reiterating the fact that everything pretty much is in there. Tesla has removed most buttons. They have brought something back, which I'll come on to in a moment, but they have pretty much removed everything and put it into that system. So if you want to change the air conditioning, you know, the flow of the air, you have to go into here. If you want to do normal things, for instance, like fire up the windscreen wipers, you have to go into there unless you press this button on here, which does it, and then you can change the frequency of the windscreen wipers there. And I know Tesla people get very annoyed when I start moaning about that, but it removes what I'm used to. You know, I'm used to having a stalk for operating my windscreen wipers because that's what I've been doing since 1999, and it just makes you think. There's been several times when I've been on the motorway and it's been really heavy rain and the automatic windscreen wipers hasn't been quick enough to get rid of the water on the windscreen, and what I've had to do is think about how to instigate the windscreen wipers. That should be natural, that should be straight away. I think when it comes to the single pedal driving, that's fine. You can take time to get used to that, but when it comes to something as inherently wired into drivers as operating the windscreen wipers, I still think we should have a stalk for that. They did this as well with the indicators. So when I drove the Tesla Model Y, that was one of the first Teslas in the UK to have got rid of the indicator stalk. And again, if you haven't driven a Tesla or driven a modern car recently, that will sound utterly bonkers, and I can confirm it was utterly bonkers. It might work in the US where you don't have roundabouts, for instance, but in the UK, having your indicator thing on the steering wheel as 2 buttons, one for left, one for right, was just stupid. Okay, driving down a road like this and just turning left, you could get used to pressing a button to go left. As soon as you hit a roundabout and you start turning the wheel, left ends up over here and right over there, and it's not good at all. The fact Tesla has brought back the indicator stalk kind of reveals, I think, what the feedback might have been about that. So what I do love about that is the fact they've brought it back. They've listened and they've brought it back. We're now hitting a patch of road where I can have a bit more fun with the car. So this little chicane here, come out of here, foot down. Ooh. The acceleration isn't mind-blowing. It doesn't snap your neck, you know, backwards, but it does push you back into the seat, and it maintains it for a satisfying amount of time. Some EVs run out of steam very quickly, but this, it pulls for long enough. It's got some interesting dynamics. It's not boring. It's not as dull as some EVs are. Tesla do seem to understand that we want to have fun in these cars. It's also a very easy car to drive slowly, which sounds, again, might sound a bit weird, but some EVs aren't because of that stop-start, you know, braking thing going on. That you don't really get that in Teslas. They're just very smooth and easy to drive around slowly. And in terms of long journeys, I've done 3 trips to London and back. I live in Warwickshire, so if you know the UK, it's not the quickest of journeys, and it can be quite long. This car has just breezed through those journeys. It's been an absolute joy to drive. The seats are comfortable, the ride, whatever they've done to the ride has made a difference, I think, because it is a very comfortable car and just a very convenient and easy car to get to and from anywhere, really. The other aspect of that is the charging network. I know this doesn't always go down well in the comment section, but I've driven quite a few Teslas now. I've done thousands of miles in them, and they're so easy to keep charged. I never worry about this in terms of charge. This is the long-range version, as I mentioned, and you get well over 300 miles out of it, even on very cold periods like this. It's winter in the UK, and you still get very good range from this thing. But even if you didn't, I'm never concerned about keeping this thing charged. I'm talking specifically about the UK here. Maybe different where you live, but in the UK we have a fantastic Tesla network. I know you can charge any car on a Tesla supercharger, but I've done it and I don't always feel that comfortable doing it. I don't know why, I just don't. Let's get out and have a look around it. Obviously, a completely unorthodox way to open the car door. No problem with that. Quite like that button, actually. It makes sense. This is what the Tesla Model 3 looks like. For me, it looks like the sort of car that you would draw. If you could draw, I can't draw at all, but if someone said to you, just draw a car, a standard car, it would look like this. That's not a bad thing, by the way. Car design is incredibly hard, says the guy who's never designed a car in his life. But you know what I mean? It's not an easy thing. It's very easy to get wrong. I do much prefer this generation Tesla with these front lights. The headlights are so much nicer than the first generation. The side profile, I think looks good. I think it's a decent looking car from the side. It's very sleek. We have a nice roof line there. From the rear, I like it as well. I like those tail lights. The wheels, I'm not a fan of. Never have been really. I know you can get different options for the wheels, but for me, that's not it. It's incredibly dirty at the minute, guys. I have been using this as my main car for the last 7 days, and because of that, it's filthy, hence the filthy B-roll footage you've seen of this car. But that's the outside. Inside, again, it's very dirty in here because I've been using it. It's a nice place to sit. We have the lovely panoramic, not a sunroof, which lets in loads of light. 2 charging pads for your phones, which is lovely. Loads of storage, tons of storage. 2 decent cup holders, loads of storage in there as well. The door bins are okay. They're not massively huge, but they do the job. Let's check out the rear. I've not sat in the back of this car yet, actually. Take the hat off, do the height test. I'm about 5'8", 5'9" on a good day. It's not bad. I think if you were any taller than that, 6 foot and over, you're going to struggle a little bit. This does slope quite a bit. And also, if you've got a child seat in your car, which I have all the time, it does remove quite a bit of the rear visibility through your rear mirror. You get a lovely screen here, which is good, and you don't get that on a lot of other cars for the same kind of money. In fact, the amount of stuff that you get as standard in a Tesla always surprises me. The seats are always electric, fully electric, unlike some of the brands where you have to spend extra on packs to get that stuff. The stereo is superb. I do need to conclude this video though, which means getting back on the road. I made another video about this car on my second tech channel, the Mark Ellis Tech Diary. It does provide quite a good overview of how I feel about Teslas. And the TLDR, if you can't be bothered to watch that video, is it feels like the car that Apple would have made. So if you weren't aware, allegedly, although they never confirmed it, Apple was working on some kind of car, some kind of vehicle, presumably an EV. It eventually got canned. Instead, I think what they've done is really focus on CarPlay. So we've had CarPlay Ultra this year. The reason I'm talking about Apple so much now is because, as I say, I think if Project Titan carried on and if they had done something, I think this is the kind of car that they would have made. And the reason for that is because, one, they would have abstracted everything away from the driving as well. They would have done the Tesla thing and removed as many buttons as possible, because that is what Apple does. They've been doing that with their own stuff for years. You know, look at the iPhone; it's barely got any buttons on it at all. Well, in fact, they've added stuff to it. But the point being, they have been relentlessly removing physical controls from their devices. That's what they do. The second thing is that most stuff at Apple works, not all of it, but most of it just works. And the Tesla Model 3 is an example of a product that just works. You get in this thing, and yes, you do have to recalibrate a little bit in terms of some of the controls and stuff, but the driving experience just works. The charging just works. It's got the best infotainment system I think I've ever used. The only one that comes close these days is Polestar. The big question is, would you buy one? I wouldn't personally. I don't think I'd own a Tesla personally. I just want a few more buttons, and as much as I enjoy driving the Model 3, it's still not enough for me. It's probably going to be something more traditional like a BMW. I know they're more expensive in terms of speccing them up and all that stuff, but I've kind of put my money where my mouth is with that already. But the other question is, would you buy it? Let me know down below why you'd buy this and why you wouldn't buy it. I'm hugely interested in the way that people make these choices and the reasons they have for doing that. So get involved, and if you've been watching The Next Drive for a little while and you've been enjoying it, but you haven't subscribed yet, you know what to do, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.